informative and contains my opinion and understanding of the subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello. So my computer hasn't been working lately, you guys, so I'm literally trying this out. So I hope nothing happens. I hope this stays up. Let's give it a second for people to come in. I'm actually going to try something real quick. Hold on. Hello to everybody. I hope everybody's doing fabulous today. I got done a little bit early, so I decided I wanted to see if there was anything that we can look up together since I'm doing research. I know some people like to do the research too. But hold on, let me try something real quick because I've been promising this. See, hold on, let me. All right, first of all, I might have to move because I already lost internet. I've been on for all of like 2 seconds. Hold on, you guys. If you could hear me, hold on. Oh. Let's try the old Ethernet cable. See what happens. I'll cut this all out right afterwards. All right, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. Hey, you guys, can you hear me finally? Oh my goodness. Hopefully you guys could hear me. I know that my picture isn't the best, but it's better than not working at all. My husband bought me an Ethernet cable. So when it just went out, that's what I did. I went and put it on real quick. I have my mic on. Do I sound okay at least? It looks and sounds great. You're the best. Okay, so hold on. I did want to, I'm like afraid to go off now, but I don't know why. Right, if my Ethernet cable's on, why does it say that I don't have good internet access? I'm confused.
You still have it set up on Wi-Fi.
Oh, see, this is why I have. Wait, I just asked my husband why it's still not working right, and he's like, because you still have it on Wi-Fi. Okay, hopefully this works this time, you guys. I truly apologize. So I have it hooked up to the Ethernet cable now, and hopefully we are good to go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Let's start over again. So how is everyone today? I really wanted to come on today and try to do some more searching and stuff like that with you guys. I'm going to see what happens. Hopefully my computer stays okay. It sounds good. Awesome. I know I look like really bright and stuff. That's not my lighting. It's literally my camera. I need a new computer. This thing is like so old. Oh, look at the thing I made with the AI. My yeah, you like that, Truth? It's not Bryan Kohberger. It literally on the bottom says fake empathy with a question mark. So that's what that's about. All right, so I was going to try, oh, thanks. I am not the queen, I wish, but thank you. I am going to try, and I wanted to add Truth on there, or somebody like, well, Truth as my mod to help me out, just in case my computer isn't the best. But let's see what I could do. It's taken a second. And I don't know why, because right now the internet should be working perfectly fine. Home from kids party and find this on my, oh, thank you. Nice. So excited. Oh, it looks like Will from the series, the Hannibal. That's actually pretty funny. All right, let's see. All right, it told me, I looked it up before we went on, Truth, and it said that if I go on and I click on the live, I guess I have to pause it. Hold on. That if I click on the live and I go down, that I'll be able to click on the name. Hold on, let me just see if this works, you guys. Live chat, open panel, let's go. I don't know why it's, oh wait, here we go. I might have figured this out. Hold on, wait, I don't want to speak too soon. There you go, done. All right, now let me exit out of that. Come back over to here. Did it work? Truth? You should be a mod. So see if it worked. I don't know how you could tell if it worked. That you may have plotted GPS spot on Brian's long drive home that morning. Wait, shut up, Sarah. What? I don't mean shut up like that. It's like a good shut up. Wait, so you think the other day when I was showing the searches that I may have plotted a GPS spot on Brian's long drive home that morning? Wow. That's crazy. It's giving Terminator vibes. That's actually funny. Oh, Truth, you got it. There you go. All right, now I bet you need to help me out. Okay, I'm just joking. I don't even know. There's like 16 people in here. I think we'll be all right, but I'm just saying. All right, here we go. Yeah, there you go. My very first. All right, so let's do this. Let me go to present. I even fixed it so that I know that last time somebody said that it was really small, and I guess they were looking from their phone. So this time I'm going to, I changed it around so that we can look at it bigger. All right, let me click off of this. I'm going to click off the things that I'm not on, just so that it gives us a better chance of it not closing out on us. Like there's no need for my CapCut anymore. I already made my thing. No, I'll give you feedback later. Thank you. Oh my God. Why? Just close. That's all I want. Just close. All right. Hopefully that closes in the background. Oh, I hate not having a mouse. But I had to choose. It was either a mouse or this. All right, here we go. Wait till you guys see this. So, oh wait, I just X'd out of the wrong thing. Hang on. Today's just going to be like that, isn't it? Usually they wind up being the best, my best videos after, the ones where I'm like totally unprepared, like I am right now. Somebody said to me, they were like, we just like listening to like your thought process as you do this. And I was thinking about it and I'm like, I'm going to be doing it anyway. So if anybody wants to listen, they can. There are some new developments in the case. I don't know if anybody is privy to the new developments. I know that there was something, yesterday, I believe it was. So let me turn off my Bluetooth. So here we go. So let me redo this. Let me represent. Let me share my screen. Here we go. It's for real this time. So I wanted to see real quick before we go on, I wanted to see if there was any updates in the case. And I found a few things. And I just, again, I wanted to see if there was updates because I didn't know if it would help give us insight into things that we should be searching or times, things like that. So let's see what they have to say here. Let me put it louder.
To let them know how important organ donation.
Accused Idaho student murderer Bryan Kohberger wants his trial date pushed back after previously unreported details about his case were leaked.
Kohberger is accused of killing University of Idaho students Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Carnodal, and Ethan Chapin. Opening arguments are currently slated for August 11th, but Kohberger's team has filed a 40-page motion to continue this afternoon. It states that the May 9th Dateline program showcased materials to promote a narrative of guilt, adding that rescheduling would mitigate the prejudicial effects of the negative publicity. Now, that Dateline report featured details about data found on Kohberger's cell phone, including searches about serial killers and pictures of college girls in bikinis. The judge has already called for a separate investigation to uncover how that information.
All right, I don't want it to like stop the thing on us. I don't think it will. It was towards the end anyway. But I think that it is pretty interesting, you guys, that they're literally trying to find anything that they possibly can, in my opinion, to delay this trial. And I feel like the last hearing, not this one, the judge was like so adamant about sticking to a timeline. But then I really do think that the Dateline evidence really pissed him off. And now I think he feels, in my opinion, that he has to like think about this and think what's fair. What do you guys think is fair here? Because I don't know. I feel like in my opinion, everything should still be on the table, but I don't know if other people feel differently. And again, my specialty is not in law. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, let's see if there's anything else.
Became public.
Oh, that was the end of that. Okay, so we saw that. So I wonder if they're going to get a new trial, not a new trial, a new trial date. I'll be interested to see. So the judge wasn't having it. Oh, somebody's writing a book in July. I just saw that. And isn't it for the defense this time? If what's fair? Do you think it's fair to delay the trial after the leaks from the Dateline episode? I am curious, how do we know who leaked the evidence, like who leaked it? And how do we know that it wasn't somebody from the defense's side? Because wouldn't that be like malpractice, if you will, by, I mean, obviously they're trying to figure out who did it, but I can't think of a better way. Like, she's literally has thrown everything at the wall so far to see what sticks. And I wonder if, hi, Harla, I hope you got my email. I just saw it the other day. I explained it in the email. But yes, so you think the same thing, Sarah? I think so too. But I don't know. I feel like, what if the defense did this and then they use it to get either evidence dropped or the trial pushed back? So this is what I fear. I fear that because the judge was so adamant about the trial date sticking to what it is, my fear is that he may strike some of this evidence, and I could be completely wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Does anybody else think that it, like, the evidence could be in jeopardy now? So what would I be talking about? The new things. So maybe the pictures of him in his hoodie, the other pictures, the things that they said about the searches on Google Trends that we're doing. So all of the things, like, I wonder if anything, and if so, if you do think that something should be dropped, what would it be? So, like, what do you think would be fair for this? And again, I don't even know that, in my opinion, that anything should be done, because we're not sure that it was the prosecution or somebody from the side of the police or anything that did leak this. So I think that puts, I don't know, that for me puts things in a different perspective as far as, what the judge should do about this. I'm hoping that they stay on, Anne is overpaid based on her performance. That's actually pretty funny. Truth in time. So, you think she's milking it? So I don't know if you guys remember, but they came up with a dollar amount that she gets paid per hour, and it was a pretty nice amount. I know I don't get paid anything near that. So with that being said, I mean, good for her. God bless her. I'm not jealous. I'm saying, though, could that be true that you would be milking it so that you can, although I think about it too, you guys, and again, this would be the difference between greed and, like, not, but for me, yes, that would be, great that she's making this money, but I would assume that even after the trial, she would still be, like, a higher priced attorney at that point, and she could then start making the rounds on the different news channels. She can make her own YouTube. She can do all of the things, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know that, like, if that's what she's thinking, I don't know that that's the best reasoning for, trying to move the trial back. I don't know why they keep trying to move this trial back. I think it is completely, she makes $8K a week before overtime. Shut up. What? That must be nice. There's 52 weeks, so 8 times 5, that's 400,000 plus another 2 weeks. So that's $416,000. No wonder why. How crazy was it? Now I understand why the judge said, if you can't get through the evidence, hire law clerks. I totally get it now. Like, she should be able to afford a few law clerks to go through. And I would assume that if she did hire new law clerks, that it might not even come out of her pocket type thing. That might be something that another motion she can file to get somebody else to pay for that. So I don't know. You're pretty sure her hubby is famous attorney too. So she doesn't even need the money. Shut up, you guys. How did we find all of this out? I guess I need to do more research into Ann Taylor. All right, let's see what else they have here. So let me see if this is worth pulling up. So it says, well, I'll just show you what it says. Let me just show you real quick. And again, I just wanted to make sure that I was up to date on the case before I started jumping into other stuff. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what this says real quick. So this one here tells us, I have to add it to the stage. Sorry. I'm so glad I looked. Okay, so this one here is going to tell us a little bit about the delays. I went down too far. So it says Boise, Idaho. So attorneys for a man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students has asked for his trial to be delayed, citing in part a recent NBC Dateline special that they called prejudicial toward Bryan Kohberger and a need for additional time to prepare for his defense. I don't know. This is what makes me nuts about this, you guys. I know I'm still reading and I shouldn't have stopped, but This is what makes me crazy, is that this isn't new evidence. They already had this evidence. So why do they need extra time to go through the evidence that they already had? I don't know. So the filing date of Tuesday said moving forward with an August trial would infringe upon Kohberger's constitutional rights. It said attorneys need more time to review the discovery, complete investigations, and prepare for trial. So there's no immediate ruling on the request. So the judge did not make a ruling that day, which comes days after the judge overseeing the case, Stephen Hippler, says he wanted to identify anyone who may have violated a gag order by leaking information from the investigation to news organizations or anyone else not directly involved with the case. I would be like scared about that, you guys, right? Oh, wait, I went down too far. Sorry. Here we go. Hippler ordered prosecutors and defense attorneys to provide a list of everyone who might have had access to the previously unreported information about Kohberger's internet search history and other details that were featured in the Dateline episode that aired on May 9th. You guys, what if somebody did like a Google Trends like we did? And like, just because a lot of the stuff that they said was alleged, they didn't say that this was like direct evidence, or did they? Did they say this was like directly stuff that was going to be used? I don't know. I don't think that it's good to try to figure out who this is, because just because of freedom of press. I mean, unless there was any malice in it, I don't know. But Kohberger's attorney raised concern about this special and the upcoming book on the case set for release in mid-July. That's good. Oh, is that from Bloom? Their filing states the blurb for the book suggests that the apparent Dateline leak was not the only violation of this court's non-discrimination order. Oh no. Oh no. A continuance is necessary to fulfill investigative leaks and to mitigate the prejudicial effects of such inflammatory pretrial publicity occurring so close to the current trial date, the filing said. So Kohberger, 30, a former graduate student in criminal justice at Washington State University, is charged in the stabbing deaths of University of Idaho students Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Gonzalez. The four were found dead in a rental home near the campus in Moscow, Idaho on November 13, 2022. A not guilty plea was entered on Kohberger's behalf, and the prosecutors say that they intend to seek death. So I feel like we knew everything there. I don't feel like there was anything that new in that one. The only other thing that I have here, let me just see if it's even worth bringing up. All right, let's see. So this one just talks about how the judge, and I know I don't have it up, it's not long, so I'll just tell you what it says. It just talks about how the judge is considering appointing a special prosecutor to track down the leak, which likely violated a gag order that has been in place since 2023. This is my thing though. Could it be possible that this was leaked prior to the gag order? Could it have been leaked from somebody in Pennsylvania maybe that isn't under the gag order? Do you know what I mean? So there are a few different things that could be possible here. So Hippler did write in his documents that it appeared likely that someone associated with law enforcement, so just like I was saying, or the prosecution team violated the court's gag order. So I don't know what makes him think that it was somebody in the prosecution's team or somebody in the police department. But he says that the leak will potentially make it harder to see an impartial jury drawing out an already long and complicated court case and costing the taxpayers more money. So importantly, such violations potentially frustrate the ability to ensure both sides receive a fair trial. According to the court's findings, it is imperative to attempt to see that the source of such leak be identified and held to account. So what do you guys think of that? Do you guys think that the leak should be held accountable? What do you think? Let me see what you guys are saying over here. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. Just so you guys know, I will go back later and read over these. Hopefully Truth is keeping up with them. I'm going to say, Truth, don't make your room go down to a 4x4. I'm just joking. Dr. Vona, how can Ann Taylor demand that words like sociopath and psychopath not be used, but there's a district Dateline evidence of him researching those exact terms? What an amazing question. This is a really good question, you guys. So I would say this is more of a legal question and not a psychological one, but my educated guess would be that that's part of the problem, right? Is that Hitler's having a problem with just that. How are they now gonna, I do believe though in the order was so that the prosecution couldn't call him a psychopath or a sociopath or allege that he is a sociopath or a psychopath. But I don't believe, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, that the order says that Kohberger himself couldn't call himself a psychopath, right? So I wonder if that is going to play a role in the decision about that. I don't know what other people think, but that was a great question, such a great question. But I don't know if anybody else knows a better answer to that. But I think that it would just, and then I kind of think that the defense could have leaked. That's what I said to Dateline. It would benefit their case to remove the shock factor during the trial. That's the thing. So you guys, yes, people do this all the time, not just like a lot of people do this. So I always think of 8 Mile when Eminem comes out and he just like, he goes off and does like an entire, I know that's a crazy thing that I thought about. You thought about the president and I thought about Eminem. It just goes to show how I grew up, right? So, but in 8 Mile, how he goes on and does like an entire verse and takes the, what you were just saying, takes the heat off of that particular thing before somebody else could do it for him. So that's a strategy. So that's what I'm saying. How do we know? How does Hitler know if this is something that the defense leaked or something that the prosecution leaked? And why is Hitler under the impression as of right now that it might be something that the prosecution did? So, all right. So that would be my answer as far as the psychopath thing. If it means the serial killer gets loose, heck yes. Oh, okay. That's why she wanted to throw it out. Okay. So speaking of throwing things out, so I did see, this was somewhere in the middle of the night. It was like 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep. And I was just like, I had YouTube in the background, and tell me if I'm wrong, because it was literally the middle of the night and I could have heard wrong. But Hitler and the defense, it wasn't Ann Taylor, it was the other woman. I forget her name off the top of my head. But they were going back and forth. And her argument was that this, that, and the other should be thrown out because it violates his Second Amendment rights, I think it was. And like that it would be, what's the word I'm looking for? Would it be prior bad acts? I'm not sure exactly what it would be. But yes, maybe it was prior bad acts. That's what it is. And she's trying to get like all these things thrown out. What Hitler is saying, and I totally understood what he was saying, and I'm like, how doesn't this law, this person with a law degree understand what he's saying? So I don't know what you guys think. Like, are they just acting there by acting like they don't know what he's talking about? Because clearly the difference would be if you've robbed, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, and I don't want to say this wrong. So in other words, everybody remembers that they said that his dad called the police on him when he was a teenager or something for stealing his sister's phone, allegedly, right? So I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying this is exact, but let's say that's the example. I could see why the defense would say, I don't want that prior act to come into trial. It has absolutely nothing to do with this case in 2022. And that although it shows that he has the ability for criminal behavior, there's plenty of people probably in chat right now that have been arrested before that are law-abiding citizens, right? And that have done their time and are now, contributing members of society. So with that being said, and again, if I'm correct, that's what I think Hitler's saying, is that in that case, and he didn't use this as an example, I forget exactly what he used, but that's how I understood it, is that with this case, if it has nothing to do with it and it's not considered a prior bad act, then it doesn't fall under that rule. I think it was 4B. I swear I have the best memory and it's all starting to come back to me. If you guys see me like look off to like the side, it's just how I think with my ADHD brain, because if I look at the screen, I'll wind up getting distracted and then I won't be able to finish my thought process. But I think he said it was Rule 4B, and in 4B, it says that the prior bad act, that there has to be a prior bad act. So for example, they wanted him to throw out, what was it? Was it the pictures maybe? On his cell phone, it was something. So again, don't quote me on this, and I don't want a Kohberger to be like, oh, she's spreading false news. This is just an example. But from what I got, hi PKC, from what I got from this Oh, Sirius is here. My Prozac. Hey. So what I got from this is that she wants a lot of the things thrown out that have nothing to do with a prior bad act. And that's where her and Hitler aren't seeing eye to eye. So he keeps saying to her, okay, but how does this tie to a prior bad act? And it doesn't. And when it doesn't, then it doesn't fall under 4B. So if I heard that correctly, let me know. If I heard that incorrectly, let me know. If anybody in here is, somebody that is prevalent with law, please let me know. But that's how I took it. And I think it was rule 4B. Okay. So let's see what else we have here. So hi, everyone. It makes more sense for the defense to leak it than the prosecution. That's what I thought. I think the prosecution has a much stronger evidence than they do. I do too. I agree with that. And, oh, Barlow. Thank you so much, Sarah. Barlow. It was on the tip of my tongue. Do you want to know why I didn't say Barlow? This is funny because I feel like there's a real housewife of like Salt Lake City or something, Lisa Barlow. And in the back of my head, I was like, what if I called this attorney like Lisa Barlow from like the Real House? I know that's just how my brain's working right now, but that's why I didn't say it out loud. But it's Barlow. Thank you very much. Bicka Barlow. That's right. Okay. So I don't know how I didn't remember that. It was on the tip of my tongue. Then we have Oh Look a Squirrel. Hey, Oh Look a Squirrel. They have until tomorrow to give him a list of everyone who had access to the evidence. Then the special counsel is going to ask under oath. That's what you're guessing? That sounds right. This is my thing though. I would be afraid, and this is just as a citizen, that if somebody's like goes to jail for this or something, that how are we going to find out information like ever? I feel like a lot of the information that we find out with small news organizations and news reporters are the ability to tell the public what's going on in real time and what the truth is. So that's the only thing that I get a kind of like ick with that. So I don't know if I'm hoping that they figure out who it is, even if it was somebody from the defense. And again, that would be me like, I'd be playing poker or gambling with that one. But I would think that for sure this would help the defense more than it does the prosecution. What do you guys think? Put a D in there if you think that this helps the defense more, I guess, and put a P for, then just put an N for neither, I guess. So neither. So either defense, prosecution, neither, both, B for both. So put something in there and let me see what you guys are thinking that are on here with us. Okay. That way, excuse me, I can see where you are. So I think personally that it helps the defense more. Okay, let's see. Retro fives. That's funny. Don't be making fun of retro fives. So yes, she pretends to be stupid. It's a pattern of behavior. So this is the thing. Do you guys really think she pretends to be stupid? Because I was a little bit concerned. Like, I'm following him right now, and I ain't good at everything. Law's definitely not something. It's not one of my strong points. So if I was following him, and you have a law degree, how aren't you following him? And she kept going back and saying, yes, judge, but we feel, or yes, judge, however, da 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 da. And I'm like, and he kept going back to the same thing. He kept saying, okay, I just don't understand how this fits under 4B. And I've totally followed him. So I'm hoping that that gives us a glimpse into what he's thinking as far as how he might rule on something like that. So then we have, let's see, do you think that they will find who leaked? And then we have spying on a colleague, maybe. So, oh, what if somebody was spying on a colleague and then like went home and told their spouse, and their spouse told their neighbor who told, do you know what I mean? Like, who knows where this could go back to? And again, I don't know. I think he might have told his parents about the crimes before it was discovered. Remember those super long phone calls with mom and dad the day of the murders? What do you guys think about that? So this is my only thing about that, because I did think about it for a minute, and then Howard Blum came out with his book and those articles, and he really does focus on their ride home with the dad, right? So, and I think he takes on the perspective of not that like the dad all out knew, but that he might have started to question in his head, like, could his son have done this type thing. I don't know that he straight came out and told his parents, because the only reason I don't know about that is because his sisters apparently over Christmas, one of the sisters was like, look, you guys, like, we need to look into this. He could have done this, da 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 da. And they all go outside and they look through his car. So, and they said that the dad was like, no way. But could you also say that the dad's saying no way because he knew and is denying it? Possibly, right? So I guess we really don't know. And I don't know much about the parents. If anybody ever has news on the parents, not for gossip reasons, but for the reasons that I'm trying to figure out the child development and the psychopathology of Bryan. So if anyone ever has information about the parents or the sisters, please let me know so that I can help put it into a systematic perspective, so that I could best hypothesize about the situation. Okay, but I haven't found a whole lot on his parents other than the fact that I know that they filed for bankruptcy twice. The first time was when he was first born, I believe it was, and the second time was when he was 14 or 15, right when he was doing the Tappa Talk. As a matter of fact, when I went back and looked at the dates, I do remember that the dates coincide with one of the Tappa Talks that talks about, it must have been around the holidays. And he talks about how this will be the last Christmas or the last holidays at his family home and like all this stuff. And I think I thought at first when I first read it that maybe he was having like thoughts of ending his own life type thing, because he does say that, you know, he was at some point. So I think that's what I just chalked it off to be at first. But then when I went back and I looked at the dates and I compared them to the dates of the bankruptcy, I see that it's at the same time. So what that says to me is that at 15 years old, I don't know if any of you remember what it was like to be 15. It's already hard enough. But at any point in your life, I can't imagine at 15, it must feel like shit to have your life torn out from under you. Think about it. If your parents go through a bankruptcy, does this mean, like, in the 15-year-old's head, like, what does this mean for us? Like, does that mean we're not going to have a TV anymore? Do we lose our house? Am I going to have the same friends? Am I going to have to leave my school? At the time where his sister's done school, I was done high school at 17. So it could very well be that he was the only one still left in school. And at that rate, how did that affect him? That like the sisters got to finish. But, you know, and again, even though he does get to finish and he does stay at the house and he does stay at the school, in the mind of the 15-year-old and their perception at that moment when he's on Tappa Talk, when he just finds out about this and he's having his last holidays at that house that he grew up in. And that's when he winds up saying that he starts feeling even more detached, which is why I think that this bankruptcy had an effect on him. I really do. So I don't think that it's appropriate to go into the parents' financial records as it relates to them. However, the implications of what that means for his development is what I'm interested in. Hopefully I said that well. I'm still in like work mode, so hopefully that came out, you know, well enough for you guys to understand what my position is. So also during that time, he starts to depersonalize a little bit more. So this also says to me that he's like detaching from his reality. Why else would you detach from your reality at this age other than, well, for many reasons, especially if you're him. So everything from problems with being bullied to he eventually has problems with eating disorders and heroin and this, so on and so forth. And you guys have to remember, so everybody says that, and again, I'm not trying to be a nerd here, like I'm not a nerd. So let me put that out there. Like I am a nerd, but I'm not like a nerd when it comes to like substances. I don't judge anybody that's doing whatever. It's none of my business, right? But my thing is this. So everybody talks about how he's never committed a crime before and how this is his first crime. So although it is not a crime to use illicit drugs, at least not in Pennsylvania, it's not. It is illegal to purchase them and to sell them. So with that being said, at some point, if he was addicted for a long time and, you know, he was purchasing regularly, right? And how does that affect him? Again, the first time, second time, third time, maybe he was scared. And then eventually it probably just got to a point of survival. And a lot of times with addicts, they'll use just to feel better in the moment as opposed to getting high. So after a while, the person doesn't even feel high anymore, unless they use more, of course. But the reason we say we have lines like they're chasing the original high is because the way the brain works and the way that it releases dopamine, you never get the same dopamine hit that you get the first time. So even if you use more, you'll die before you ever feel the high that you felt the first time, right? So, and if you didn't know that, that's how it works. So all of this had to have had an effect on his brain and his body at such a young age. Your brain is not done developing till you're 25 years old. And the part of the brain that's still developing is your prefrontal cortex. So it's the part of the brain that helps us with problem solving, impulse control. It's like the executive functioning part of the brain. And that's still going until we're about the end of our 24th, 25th birthday. So how would this look in real life? Like, how does that relate to real life? Think about sexual relations right before you were 25 and those after 25. Chances are that you might have made a few like bad choices before 25, at least worse than you would have after 25. And a big reason for that is the development of the brain. So the end of the development of the prefrontal cortex. So before 24, you might be like, oh, we don't have a condom, whatever, let's just do it. And then afterwards be like, what the hell was I thinking? After 24, 25, when your brain's developed, you might be like, yeah, I really want to do this, but I'm not trying to get pregnant or whatever the case may be. Like, we're not doing this. Sorry, we'll just have to have fun another night type thing. So, and those two thought processes differ depending sometimes on things like brain development. So how did these things like drugs, eating disorders, and if he had an eating disorder, this is another thing. I know that he saw a psychiatrist at some point. What did the psychiatrist diagnose him with, right? And how did that affect him? Was he put on medication for whatever he was diagnosed with? Like, I would want to know all of these things because every one of these things does have an effect on brain development. On another note, I will say again, I'm not like, prudish or whatever. I have ADHD. Everybody's well aware of that. So I'm not downing anybody that's on medicine and things like that. I'm saying, and I was on different medications before 24, but I was misdiagnosed. And I genuinely believe that medications that I might have been on before 25 when I didn't understand, I had my degree in psychology by this point, but I was still getting my master's. And as I was getting my master's, I was taking classes like psychopharmacology, where I was learning about how that works on the brain. And that's when I kind of like self-diagnosed. So part of me wonders, and why do I put this together with Bryan? Because people say that I shouldn't even share this, but I am authentic. I am who I am. You're going to get the real me. I had an eating disorder from 13 to 21. I had spent a few times in eating disorder hospitals during that time, like multiple times. And during that time, I saw this doctor. His name's Dr. Perchuk. He's like the eating disorders doctor in the area. And I come to find out that Kohberger went to one of the same, eating disorder programs that I went to. And he also saw the exact same psychiatrist that I saw. Why is that a big deal? Because my psychiatrist misdiagnosed me by a long shot. Like, he tried to diagnose me with everything from schizophrenia to bipolar disorder to everything in between, to borderline personality. I mean, just so many different things. And here I was but I was ADHD. So just is not a thing, because ADHD, it really does affect my daily functioning. So, but once I got diagnosed properly, I was then able, oh, hi, Drunk Turkey Show. Thank you so much for supporting. I appreciate you. And I think I fixed my camera and my microphone. The camera doesn't look that great, but it's working, so I'm just going to go with it. But anyway, you guys, the reason I bring this up is because if I was misdiagnosed and given different medications, the good news is I still wind up turning out to be a doctor, right? So you could still turn out to do well in life. But I 100% think that it had an effect on my thought process back then. It had an effect on the way that I thought about things, on my perception of reality, so on and so forth. I don't think Bryan was on medication at this point, but neither was I, right, at his point. So, but I do wonder, how did those psychopharmacology, how did that affect him before brain development was complete? And I wonder if it had, an effect on him even later on. And even things like heroin. So I did not, thank God, have the addiction aspect of it. So I did have the eating disorder. I did not have the addiction. I mean, I smoked cigarettes or whatever, but I did not have heroin addiction. That's like two totally different things, right? So I would say that in that sense, again, in my opinion, he goes from one addiction to another to another. So eating disorders reacts very much like an addiction in your brain. So I feel like he went from the eating disorder to the addiction to this. So, and this just meaning his whole academic history, where he winds up again thinking he's the smartest one in the room, but he has to crush everything. So he doesn't just lose 50 pounds, he loses 120 or whatever it was. He doesn't just stop using drugs. Like he says to somebody that he sees later, I will never, there's nothing anybody could ever pay me or do that would ever have me ever touch that stuff ever again. So he literally goes from active using to being disgusted by the heroin. You know what I mean? So, and then he goes back on like an eating kick, I believe, as far as it relates to his visual snow, but it looks a little bit different. So I do want people to know that eating disorders present themselves very differently in different people. And somebody might not have what you might see as anorexia or bulimia. And I don't know if a lot of people know that compulsive overeating is also an eating disorder, but there's other eating disorders as well. So there are some people that will run or exercise for 8 hours and take laxatives. So, I mean, there's other people that will chew their food and spit it out like a bird so that they're getting the taste of the food, but they're not swallowing the calories. Eating disorder, you guys, it really does. It not only messes with your thought process, it messes with your relationships. Part of eating disorders, and this is what I'm going to get at. So if I'm going to come out and tell you all of this about me, I'm going to tie it to why this is so important with Bryan Kohberger. And if anybody in my family or anybody's listening, I apologize from now, but I'm just going to be real here and just do the thing. So this is it. Eating disorders are a familial disorder, okay? So familial just meaning it's part of your family system. I don't want to use my household too much just out of respect, but in my household growing up, I was one of 4 kids. We all had the same mom and dad. My oldest sister is 10 years older than me. My youngest brother is 3 years younger than me. And then me and my sister are 3 years apart in the middle. So of the kids, I am the one that had, you would consider it the mental health issues, ADHD, and possibly on the spectrum, high functioning, but somewhere on the spectrum. And therefore, I didn't pick up on the same social cues that my siblings did. And in doing so, I left myself vulnerable to manipulation. Okay. So this often happens when you have a parent with a personality disorder. Just so you know, the same parent, just in case, and I want to cover my bases here. That same parent can also get help, right? And can do better in life. So just keep that in mind. But let's rewind it back to my teenage years, and it wasn't that same thing back then. So I was highly able to be manipulated, and I was at times, right? So an eating disorder is one of the ways that a kid or a young adult can have control over something when they don't have control in their life. So when you're a young adult, when I was, 13, 14, even 19 and 20, I relied on my parents for everything. So whether it was getting to school, whether it was clothes, whether it was if I was allowed to go out Friday night, if I could have $20, I mean, all of the things, right? So they had complete control over everything. My dad was always like, he was the business guy and so, so he always did his thing. And I think that left my mom open to feeling out of control in ways, and I'm not going to give up too much of their stuff. That's their own business. But in doing so, when a parent feels out of control in their own life, gaining control of one of their children's lives is one of the ways that they could feel that they've regained control in that moment, even though they're very out of control behavior. So I hope that makes sense. An eating disorder is so out of control behavior, and taking control over your children because you feel out of control yourself is also abnormal behavior, okay? But when you're a little kid and you don't know any better, and you're just being told things like, thank God I have you, you tell me everything, and stuff like that, it winds up, it's like ick. And then it winds up pinning the other siblings again. I mean, it's just there's a whole family dynamic behind eating disorders. With that being said, the person with the eating disorder is usually the smartest one in the family. So we're the ones that see that there's something going on and that we need to take a drastic step, if you will, to try and stop it. And that's exactly what I did. So by being hospitalized multiple times, there were different, social workers that would come in and talk to me. And so long story short, it gets us into family therapy. It takes me around 6 times to completely, just like it might take somebody 6 times in addictions to get better. It took me, about that long too. I don't know how many times Bryan went into treatment. I don't know if that was only one time. If Nina's here, Nina would know that. And that would be great if Nina, if you're here, if you'd share that. Or if anybody knows. But I do think that it was only once. And same thing with rehab. I feel like, and again, if anybody knows different, please let me know, because I almost feel like subhuman that like, oh my God, it took me 6 times. Like it took him months. But then I come to realize that if you're looking at real data, I'm the one that's more in the normal category. If anybody out there has tried before to get better with anything and you didn't the first time, just keep going back at it until you, figure it out. So, that's my message there. But with that being said, I wonder if it has something, if his personality makeup has something to do with why he was able to put the, close that chapter and go to a new one type thing much quicker than maybe I did or someone else. Somebody else said that he had to go through withdrawals. When it comes to withdrawals, just so that we know, and I'm behind a few minutes, but when it comes to withdrawals, just remember that with heroin addiction or any opiate, so whether if you're on Percocet, heroin, fentanyl, morphine, okay, there is medication that we can give for that. So if I were to walk outside right now and somebody was, just laying on the ground, I actually have Narcan that I could go use and revive that person and bring them back to life. I will tell you, in Philadelphia, because we give out Narcan just in case that happens. So, and I remember the first time a doctor gave me like Narcan, and I'm like, what the hell are you giving me this for? And he's like, unfortunately, there's so many people that are just, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Philadelphia, it's so bad in certain sections that we have to power wash the playgrounds every single day, because there were people touching playground equipment and then having to be rushed to the hospital or getting Narcan because they touched fentanyl that was that strong. So we have like some of the best fentanyl apparently, and Trank. If you guys ever hear of Trank, if Trank comes to your neighborhood, if it ain't there yet, it's coming. Stay away from it. Make sure everybody in that stays away from it. Make sure you let them know that Trank, not only is it worse than fentanyl, but it causes a skin or a flesh eating disorder, and it literally eats away at your muscles, and it eats away from the outside in. It like eats away at your fascia or whatever, your skin, the part of the skin. Anyway, I show it in class just so my students can see, and there isn't something that you could take for Trank withdrawal, but there is something you can take for opiate withdrawal. And according to people that I am familiar with that have taken, Suboxone, for example, for opiate withdrawal, they've said that they did not go through withdrawal because they were able to use this particular drug that was designed so that they didn't go through withdrawal. So I wonder if he did go, like if he decided to just stop and go through withdrawal, or if he used like Suboxone or methadone or something like that. And if anybody ever has any questions about either one of them, just let me know, because I do think there's a difference, stuff like that. So let's see. I don't think this. I think the weight and drugs are going to factor into his cycle. Okay, so look, a scroll. The reason I think that I agree with you that it is going to weigh into his cycle is that I think it's all part of the same cycle, right? So I think if you're looking at it like a mobile, these are all different parts of the same system. So I think, again, like he tries one thing, gives it up for the next, gives it up. So I just feel like this was part of that cycle, and I 100% think that it has, something to do with it. So do I think that the bankruptcy had something to do with this, outrage and this cycle. When it comes to the bankruptcy, I went through the entire bankruptcy because I didn't want to do a video or anything showing, their credit card debt and stuff. Like, I'm not interested in that. Again, I'm less interested in what their debt was over and more about how did that affect Bryan at 15 years old. With that being said, I was happy to see that they were able to keep their house. I think that might have played a positive role in his life at that time, because he talks on Tappa Talk a lot about how, like, what am I going to do? Like, or not, what he doesn't say, what am I going to do? I take that back. He says, this is my last time in this house for, the holidays. And that's when he reports that his family's all hugging each other and he feels nothing for them. And, his parents are nice to him, but he feels nothing for them either. And that he's watching his family all hug and this and that. And again, I think this was his way of detaching from that trauma at the time. And I also think that his sisters were older than him. I don't know if both were still living at home at the time. One could have not even been living at home. Who knows? Both could have not been living at home. I don't know how much older they are than him. And I don't know, like, did they leave right after high school? Were they out of high school already? And if so, did that affect him even more, like I said before, because now he's the one kid who didn't have the stable upbringing that his sisters had, if you will. And again, that's all perception. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. Okay. So let's see what else we have here. So his parents put him in rehab. Yes. And that's another thing. Like, were they in debt because of that? Like, I know that he had skin removal surgery. I don't know if his insurance covered that or if that's something the parents had to pay for out of pocket. And if so, how did that play a role? I don't know, but it all does. I know that it all plays a role. So does anyone know the exact extent of his drug use? So truth in time, yes. So we do know that he was using heroin, and that a lot of the people, this was back when heroin was like, it was rampant in Pennsylvania, and everybody seemed like that was on an opiate. It was just like, you could look in anybody's medicine cabinet and find opiates. It was ridiculous. So this was back at a time like that. Back then, there were a lot more deaths, or I don't know that there was a lot more death. It could just be that they were the people that wound up dying in our lives, unfortunately. So I lost a ton of friends. You guys probably have lost a ton of friends, family members, even loved ones like children. And I am sorry for anybody that's in that situation. I don't wish that on anyone. With that being said, we know that a lot of his friends overdose and die. Not a lot, but the ones that he was using with overdose and die in the end of the story, and he gets better. In particular, I wish Nina was here, and if you are Nina, I apologize, I didn't see you yet. But Nina would remind us that during that time with his drug use, there was a girl named Ashley Flugel, and she was using with him. So they were using heroin together. And when he went to get clean, he tried to get her to go with him to get clean, and she refuses at the time and then dies shortly after. So I don't know, how does that play a role? Do you know what I mean? So all of these stressors are just piling up. And, how's this now going to affect him? And Sarah, you're right about chasing the dragon. Like I said before, if you look at it physiologically, your brain hits that dopamine hit that first time. And then anything after that, you guys, like, you could do double, triple, quadruple, almost kill your type thing. Like, that's how much you could do. And you're still not feeling that, that top high that you got that first time. And again, if we teach our kids and stuff that it's not even biologically possible, maybe that would, even if it stops one or two kids from even trying, I feel like we've done our job. I don't know. But I do think we need to educate our kids at a much younger age about these drugs and about how even the kids that don't use drugs, right? How many, I'm sure everybody in here, including myself at some point, has taken something from someone, even if it was like somebody that said, here's Tylenol. And you trusted them, so you take it. So, like, we've all probably have done that at some point. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, I tell my daughters, don't even take a Tylenol from anyone. Please, I will drive an hour and a half if I have to come bring you a Motrin, bitch. I'll do what I gotta do. Just don't take nothing from anybody else. And again, a lot of that is because kids are taking fentanyl by accident, or they're buying what they think is a Xanax or a Percocet, and they're dying from fentanyl. So we do have to be, very careful of that. And then Steve G is usually very careful about what he shares. So him saying that 8 hours helped the prosecution makes me think it's more than just BK going back to the scene. So no, so this is the thing. So I don't know. I don't think I know what you mean by that before I answer that. So if you mean that you think if BK went back to the scene, or well, we know that he did, right? From his, the pings, what I would say about that is that that's not uncommon for somebody that does this type of crime. So I think, in my opinion, if now that we know about the picture of him at 10:30 after he gets a shower, right? After that, so now we know that at 10:30 he was happy, right? I think it was before 10:30 that he was at the house again. I'm not sure, so somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, it was, because after 10:30 it would have been closer to when the cops were there. So I remember it was before then. And he likely went back because he hadn't heard anything yet. This brings me to the Google Trends that I'm going to pull up in about 1 second, because I do want to make sure that we get there so we can show people some of the things that we're finding and how to find these things for themselves, okay? And there were other things. So people in the past few days have been sending me like different things to look up, stuff like that. So let's just jump right into it and go to Google Trends, okay? I'm going to pull it up in 1 second. All right, Google Trends. Now let me connect it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. I'm an open book. If anybody has any questions for me too, feel free. All right, here we go. So let me see. Let me add it to my stage. And again, just like I said I would last time, I made this bigger. So I'm hoping I could just like, oh no, I guess my whole circle would have to pop out of the way. But I do have a screen where I could pop off altogether so that if there's any like, you know, anything that we need to see in the left-hand corner at the bottom or something, that we'll still be able to see it. So let me just make sure I got everything here, especially the friends with, so again, he would go back, in my opinion, to see the havoc he wreaked. You have to remember, if he was there 24 times before, and in my opinion, I this is just coming out, like this is just in my opinion, I do think that he might have called the cops on them a few times. Just in my opinion, we do not know this to be fact, so please don't quote me on this. But how ironic would it be if we do find out that he had something to do with calling the police? Somebody in Daniel's chat called him Buzzkill Bryan, and I literally, like, water came out of my nose. I laughed so hard because I just wasn't expecting that. And I'm like, seriously, right? Like, talk about buzzkill. So the next day, I bet he was like, I almost said dying too, and that would have been the wrong terminology. I bet he was yearning to see people outside crying, holding each other in pain. How could this happen? The police there. Like, I think he was expecting this big like hoopla, and he gets back there and there's nothing. So I think that if it had something to do with the sheath or whatever, then wouldn't he have went in? Do you know what I mean? So like, he doesn't go in. So that makes me think that he's just back there to see his dirty work, if you will. All right, let's see. I look forward to seeing the video of him interacting with the female. Oh, me too. I want to see the one with him interacting with the female officer as well. Wait, was it the female officer? We did see one. So was it a female officer, the one that we didn't see? I didn't know if it was a male or a female officer. I think in my head, I thought it was a male officer. So that would be interesting if it's a female officer. So somebody please let me know, because we do have the video of him with the one female officer that he starts asking questions about the law. And I think he was trying to like school her almost. And then she's like, well, I could go get it if you want. And he's like, yeah, please do. And then afterwards, he's like, you know, I hope you don't think I was trying. So are we talking about that one? Or are we talking about the one that they're trying to get out of trial? And if it's the one that they're trying to get out of trial, this was one of the things that Becca Barlow brought up to the judge, was that by showing this video, that it goes against 4B. And what the judge is trying to say is, and their point is that the prosecution's trying to use it to show his car, you know, there was a few things. And the defense's point is that they could show this by, you know, looking at his plates and his registration and stuff like that, that there's no need to show this traffic stop to show those things. And I remember the judge says something along the lines of, who are you to tell the prosecution how to present their case? So that said to me that he was not down with, you know, what they were saying in that moment. And again, he wasn't able to connect it to that 4B like he was saying before. How does this relate to a prior bad act, and it doesn't. But she kept jumping in and saying stuff like, okay, judge, but we're just saying it's very, it's going to be prejudicial against him and da 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 da. And my thing is, isn't that what evidence is? I know Daniel's in here. Like, isn't that what evidence is? It's going to be prejudicial against somebody. So I don't know. I don't understand what the point of that was. I don't understand if that was the case. Wouldn't every defense try to fight every piece of evidence in every like, how would you have evidence? And also, I also think that it's important. Well, yeah, so let's just stick with that. Anyway, they're trying to do 4B. Let's go to Google Trends. I'm not going to go off on a rant. Let's go to Google Trends real quick. Okay, so first things first, if you go to Google Trends, just know that there's a couple things that you might want to do. So first, let's put in Bryan Kohberger. It occurred to me the other day, you guys, I was like, wait a minute. I looked up Bryan Kohberger and I kept putting before the crime, or I would put it up to a certain point. And then I was like, wait a minute. It never occurred to me. Though that time period between when the crime occurred and when he was arrested very much is an important part, because nobody knew that he was the perpetrator. So you wouldn't expect the lines to get bigger until the 30th, right? So let's just look this up and see what we find, because I want to see what happened during that range between the time of the crime and the time that he was arrested, and see if there's a trend there. So let's do from 11, let's just do 11/12, 22. We'll give it the day before, and we'll go to 12/30, 22. All right, and let's see what happens. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm actually glad that this happened like this. So look over here, you guys. So over here, we have zeros all the way across, right? And we know that this isn't true because we found them before. So this is where I'm going to show people how to better search, this so that we can find what it is that we're looking for. So if we were to just come on here, put in Bryan Kohberger's name, let me make sure I spelled it right. I did. Put in Bryan Kohberger's name, and then look it up. Chances are that it's not until the 30th that we get a big hit. Oh, look, we have a big hit on the, oh no, we don't have a big hit on the 29th. It is the 30th. So we have a big hit on the 30th. Excuse me. We would expect that because he's arrested on the 30th. If you come down to here though, when we see that on the 30th, the places that are looking at this most are Idaho, Washington, Pennsylvania is one of the top 4. And it shows you over here, Washington was number 1. And you would also expect that because it probably was on the local news, the state news, it was in the country, so on and so forth. So let's narrow this down a little bit and let's do 11/30 and see if that gives us a different result. Okay, so now we have 0, all right? So this, not that this is good, but it gives me somewhere to pop off to show you guys. So now we're looking down here and we have nothing. I wouldn't give up here. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, there's just nothing there. I would then look over here in the United States, and I'm going to put in Washington and see if anybody specifically in Washington looked it up during that time. I'm getting a no. Maybe I should put it to, hold on, let me add, didn't he look up, I think he looked up Idaho homicide and Idaho murders. I'm going to look up both. Idaho homicide, and then we're going to look up, oh, look at that. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, oh, Idaho homicides, whatever. You have to remember that, well, let me put in Moscow as well. So it's MOSCOW, right? Moscow, Idaho. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to hit enter on that. Moscow, Idaho. Oh, remember somebody taught us this? Wait, guys, wait till you see this. Plus Moscow, Idaho, plus homicide plus murder. Murders. And let's see what we get. Oh, look at that. Wow. Holy shit. Okay, so over here we have a huge one. So Moscow, Idaho, homicide, murders. Okay, actually, don't get too excited. Not excited. I mean, like excited that we found something over this, because I always tell my students whenever, you know, regardless, to make sure that you are thinking critically. And if I'm thinking critically, I'm sure there's somebody in the state that might have been looking up. And look, this is going to show you by each search term. So right here, this is Idaho homicide. The thing that makes this interesting for me is that this is, so we have metro over here. Let's break it down and see if we can get cities. Let's see if we get closer. Sometimes you can't. Oh, we did. Wow. We have a couple of specific dots here, and I see one that I'm really interested in. This one right here, Liberty Lake. Where is that at? Anybody know what Liberty Lake is? Or this little dot in the middle of Liberty Lake? Let's see if I can get on it. Hold on. I'm so used to using my mouse. All right, here we go. Spokane Valley, 6 for search interest. And then over here we have Pullman. Oh, look, you guys. So when you see the numbers here, let me just explain this real quick in case anybody's new to Google Trends. When you see 33, 100, just know that this goes from 0 to 100. 0 means that there was no trend. Now remember, a trend is different than a search history. A search history is that I Google, you know, one thing, right? That's not going to be a trend because it's only one thing. Even 2 or 3 things aren't a trend. You would have to be looking this up more often or more times for it then to be tagged as a trend, if you will, or something that's been looked up multiple times. So over here we have, and the higher it is to 100, the more of a trend it was at that time. So let's look over here. We have, I don't know if anybody knows what, you know, these places are. Canyon Creek, like, I don't know if anybody knows if any of those places have interest, like, would he have been there? Walla Walla, Palouse, what else do we have? Pullman. So Pullman's the one that's at 100%, you guys. So that says to me that, like, we see the trend. That's where he was staying. When you come over to here, a lot of times people will look at this list and they just go with the very first thing. So they see, oh yeah, University of Idaho, like that's it, definitely. And they'll click on that one. Don't make that mistake. So that was what was rising during that time. What was the top trend at this time? Oh, there we go. So every now and then you'll get one where it'll come back up with it. So look, University, Idaho University homicide. Let me put that in. Idaho University homicide. And let's see what we get on that. And this is what I'm going to do. Truth. If anybody's like, if anybody's like trying to get my attention, just if you can text me or someone so that I know, because I'm on the Google page. What did I just say? I said Idaho. Oh my gosh, you guys. I just had an ADHD moment. It was Idaho University homicide. Idaho University homicide. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, did I spell that wrong? Hold on. I think I spelled that wrong. Do you want to know something, you guys? I don't know if you know this, but see how I spelled that wrong? I looked this up because I know that Bryan isn't the best speller, and I know that I'm not the best speller. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you look this up, there is studies done on people who aren't good spellers and them being academic, but I also look at it that I'm from Philadelphia, and it could just be that my teacher was like drunk before school and didn't teach us that day. So that also could be a possibility. Let's just be honest. So ready? Idaho University murders. Did I do it wrong that time too? What did I do wrong? Oh, did I keep going back? Hold on, I might. There we go. All right, so we're going to look this up as a search term. It's going to be purple. Okay, so our new one is purple, and we have something, you guys. And look, it's more of a trend than you would expect on the 14th. So on the 13th, right? And again, so wait, why would somebody look it up before? I don't know. Okay, actually, I do know. So over here, it says Moscow, Idaho plus homicide plus murders. The reason I wanted to put that in and then put in University, Idaho University homicide is because I did want to show you that there's a possibility that somebody could have looked up Moscow, Idaho, maybe going because they want to go visit their friend there and they need to get a plane ticket. You know what I mean? So could that, and this was the green. So the green one here says 10, okay? But again, I want you to be critical thinkers and ask questions like, what could have also given it a rise for that particular trend? And again, this would include Moscow, Idaho, plus homicide, plus murder. So it's involving a lot more. And you can even see that over here. So we see that a lot higher. However, let's keep going over here. I want to see if Bryan comes up. So I'm still at a 0 for Bryan. So Bryan's blue, so he's the one on the bottom. And I'm still at a 0 for him. Let me see what else we have here. So what else could I look up for him? Let me see. I'm going to go back to StreamYard and see if anybody's writing anything to see what I can. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. Oh, is my head in the way, you guys? I could take me off. Hold on. Let me show you this. This is why I did this. Before we got on today, I was like, let me just in case. Because I know last time people had a hard time viewing it. Not all, everybody, but a few people had a hard time. So wait, there's like 2 other options. Oh no, that's not one that I like. Hold on. Let me try this one. No, that's top left. I have one where it's literally just the entire page is for. All right, we're back here. I bet I could just. Oh, if I stop my camera, it's just going to make me dark. So I could always scroll up if I have to. So what about searching Idaho 4? Because if you think about it, great call. That's what we all wind up calling it, right? So we all wind up calling it the Idaho 4. He would know if somebody, you know, if there was 4. My next question was going to be, how did we know it was 4? But he would know by the 13th. So Idaho 4, because that's what we all wound up calling it. So we've actually made that a trend over time. All right, hold on, let me see. All right, I have a couple search terms. Raising hand, can you put in the first 2 search terms that you did last time and set the dates for? Do you remember what the search terms were? Because I could so do that. I just don't remember exactly what they were. Over here, you guys, so this is between the 12th, and again, we're just in the second half of November, okay? So we're not even in December, and we have a lot of interest. Again, if you go over, it'll tell you exactly where the interest is, but I want to see what those first 2 things that I did were and the dates so that I could, here, maybe I can open up, or no, I'll just do it here. Does anybody know what those search terms were? So my very first 2 search terms, let's see if anybody answered. I'll look right now. Thank you so much. I think it might have been, could it have been their names? I think one of them was the one that says homicide. And the question says, can I put in the dates 11/12 to 11/13? So let me just do that with all of these so far while I'm waiting. Okay, so we're going to do it till 11/13 and see what happens. Boom, look at that. Okay, but again, be a critical think. Oh, because we only put the 12th in. At first I was like, wait, there's nothing before the 12th, but we only put the 12th to the 13th in. So over here, we have somewhat of a hit on purple. What's purple? Purple was Idaho University homicides, and that was on the 13th, which would be expected, right? So people are probably looking it up at that time. What did we find last time, you guys? I feel like we found something big. Let's see. Did we look up the girls' names and everyone? I think we did, and I feel like somebody told me that I might have spelled one of their names wrong. So Truth, I don't know if you want to write their names down for me the right way, since I so kindly made you my first mod, and text it to me so that I could spell them right. You're the best. Or is that how you do it? Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, so I'll go over real quick too and see if there's anything over here anybody's putting. Were combinations of BK and suspect. I forgot about the word suspect. Duh. You guys, Why would you just look up your own name? If you thought you were the suspect, I can't believe, thank you so, this is why I'm doing this with a group and not by myself. So I would have just felt so like underwhelmed. I'm like, we should make a word whelmed. Like people are like either overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I'm like, sometimes I'm just like regular. So what would that be? Whelmed. But this would have been very underwhelming if I would have done this on my own, because I would have been like, what was I getting last time? Like last time, you guys, we were getting hits. If you look at the front cover of the last live, and I think I put like a half of it on this one, just like show it, but every single sticky note that it looks like there, every single one of them are a Google trend that we found together. So suspect is what I would put in. So let's, if I was looking myself up. So let's see if that changes anything. And this is from the 12th to the 13th. So did I spell that wrong? No. It's Bryan Kohberger suspect. We don't see anything yet. Oh wait, what's this? Oh no, that was for the other one. So let's bring it out a little bit further. So instead, like maybe, there's no trend yet for that first day, but I'm going to take this out to 12:30 because nobody should have known that he was the suspect before then. Right? Did I put 12? I did. Okay. So let's see. So I did it from the day before until the day he gets arrested. And I'm glad that I did this too, so that you guys could see that when you look, this is what we would expect. We would expect there to be a spike on the 30th because that's the day that he was arrested. So I think that it's good to add it up to and including that day so that people could see that, I want people to look at this and not just be like, oh, well, what are, because there are probably some coincidences. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure. And if there are any coincidences, it is my opinion or my hypothesis that it's under Moscow, Idaho, plus homicide, plus murder. And again, that's because any of those terms searched in that, would be picking up. So I would look at the things that we looked at. Oh, we have a 1 for Bryan Kohberger suspect. Wait, where's that at? Oh, that was on the 30th. So that makes sense, right? Because his name was out there on the 30th. But before the 30th, let's see what we have. No, just the Moscow. Oh, we have Idaho murders. So people obviously were looking it up before then. I was seeing if anybody looked up him as the suspect. What do we have a bump in purple over here. What was purple? Purple was, if you guys look over here, just in case anybody forgets, and if you're just following along or if you step away for a minute and you come back and you're like, wait, where are they at? Just look right under here under Google Trends, and each one of these dots has a color, and the color is what is coordinated over here on the chart. Okay, so and the date is right here. Oh, you guys, I have it in for Washington. Let me do United States. That could have been an issue. Now let's see what we got. Okay, let's see. So now we have the Moscow, Idaho homicide on the 13th. Look at that. Again, we have on the 13th. On the 13th, do you guys see this? This is very important. So look where it says Idaho murders, and it's yellow, and it says less than 1%. That's important. That means that somebody on the 13th is looking that up enough that it winds up becoming a trend. Now you might say, okay, people are starting to look it up, but also keep in mind that when a lot of the news stations say that they were on it from the beginning, that they mean within the first week. So although there were a lot of people that first day that probably know about it, we don't know. Let's see. So wait, let's see over here. Let's just find out for ourselves. So let's go over here and let's do Bryan Kohberger suspect. And this is by sub-region. So we're going to do it by, we have metro and city. Let's just go right to city and see if it's able to pick up city. Okay, so it doesn't do city, right? So now you want to go to sub-region because metro, because that's in the middle. So we do have it by metro. So we could come over to here. Look, you'll see that on the East Coast over here, people were looking it up. I saw a lot of New York and Philadelphia related to these searches. My educated guess for that might be a VPN, that it's like rerouting it right there, because Philadelphia is still within the state. And then over here, if we go over here, we have Washington and Idaho are the two states where we're picking up activity. We're coming back up in the corner over here again. Does anybody know if there's anything in that, like over in that area that could have been of interest? Like, could he have disposed of something? I don't know, anything. And then over here, it breaks it down. So if you see a chart like this where it's yellow, green, and then on the end of some of them, you'll see purple right here. That's just telling you that, again, if you look at the top, that the ones that are in purple, green, and yellow are the ones that we see on the side here. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to, oh, it's already at city. Okay, so we're good. So it's telling you in what order the city, that people, so this is just for interest in Bryan Kohberger as a suspect. Let's look for interest in the Idaho 4 by city. Okay, so over here by city, the interest is over here again. Over here again in Washington and Idaho. It just keeps going up when I click on it instead of letting me click on it on them. All right, there we go. Seattle's one of them. Lake Forest again. You guys, what is that? Does anybody know what Lake Forest Park is? Because it keeps coming up. It's come up in more than one. I don't know if that's something. And then, what's this one? East. I don't even know how to say that. I ain't going to say that wrong. Okay. And then let's see what, oh, look, you could also include low search volume regions. So this is important too. Why? Because there's bigger cities, right? So you might have more search results in Philadelphia, for example, right? Than you would in like a county, a different county here. So Philadelphia County might have more. So by adding that, you add in all those smaller counties as well. So let me just see real quick. I don't see any, I don't have any text, I don't think. Let me just check. No. Did we ever find out the search results that I found the last time, the first two? I might actually have them in my picks. Let me just look real quick. I don't know if you guys could see this. That way I know too. Okay, so you're just seeing this page. So wait, it's where he claimed he was that night. Really? Did he really? Is it by the coffee shop? Oh, wow. You guys, this is so interesting. I'm like reading. I love coming back and reading what you're writing. It's where he claimed he was that night, I think. Truth, you have been through it, kiddo. Yeah, you have been. You really have been. I don't know where the coffee shop was, but I do want to see, now that I can see what you guys are looking at. You guys talk amongst yourselves for 1 second. I'm going to see if I can find any of the photos so that we could go to some of the search results. Instead of just redoing some of the search results, we could go back to some of them and then either add to them type thing. That might actually be more helpful. So let me just pull up those results and I'll show you guys some of them. Here we go. I'm in the right spot. I just don't want to share my entire screen. So let's see. This was a good one. I forget what this was. Wait, hold on. I have a good one right here that I don't know that I did with you guys. So let me see. In this one, I looked up 1122 King Road, Moscow, and 1122 King Road. Let's look them up. Let's see. So let's do the house. That was back in the beginning, so that might have been one of the first ones. I don't want it to take it off where you guys can't see it. Okay, so over here, let's take away, we'll just take away this one for now. And we'll add in 1122 King Road. I remember that, I think it was written as King Road and not RD, or it was RD and not Road. Oh, well. Okay, so wait, let's see. So this one was big too, so I'm going to edit this one. And I'm going to make this 1122 King Road to see what comes up. And then we could even do the one with Moscow. Moscow. I know I said that wrong. All right, we're going to change this one back to Road. And we're going to add Moscow in it. And we got a hit last time on that, so let's see what we get. Oh, I have to make sure that the dates are right too. So let me just go back real quick and see what dates this was for. So this was... Oh, hold on, I have to click on it. My eyes aren't that good. I have my glasses, but I don't know where they're at. All right, so let me look. So we got major hits. What the hell were these dates? I did 8/1/22 to 12/30/22. Oh, you guys. Okay, hold on. Wow. Let me change the time or the date. And not only am I going to do that, I might take the other things off so that we could see the clear comparison here, because this is crazy. So we put in 8 because I remember, because we said like the beginning of August or whatever. I think that's why I put it in. I could probably go back further, but let's just see what happens here. Let me take out what keeps hitting. The yellow keeps hitting. The Idaho murders keeps hitting, but I would assume that some would consider it that. So wait, this one isn't a trend yet. So let's get rid of this. Remove. I'm going to remove all the other ones and see if I could try to do what we did that first time and see if I get the same thing. And if not, what does that mean? Do you know what I mean? Like I should be getting the same thing. So I'm going to see what, here we go. I did. There you go, you guys. Maybe we were searching too many terms. And also it says add a comparison. So could it have been that the comparison was messing up the search? Because it could have been. Okay. So hold on, we got another one. Okay, so then we did another one where we did Moscow homicides and Moscow murders, which I just had both of them up there, I think, but let's look at this one real quick. So this is, you guys look at this. This is for 1122 King Road, Moscow, and 1122 King Road. The blue is the one with Moscow in it. The red is the one with just the address. And if you look over here, you see that we're at 0. Okay, we're still at 0. And again, I would like to look at this from before whatever the date is that it kicks off, just to see if by, so the day of the homicides, to see if we get anything by shortening it, because sometimes you'll get things like that. So over here, we clearly have a hit in this. I would assume that this big hit over here is the 30th. Oh, it's the 21st or the 20th. Oh, well, I guess people would be looking up the house. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, but then that would make sense. So the house would make sense. So let's look over here by subregion. And this is showing us, so again, the blue is with the city and the red is without the city. And if you guys look, let's look over here by city. So by, we're going to see what the top cities were when we compare them against each other. Okay. So it's actually giving me a breakout. Hold on, let me see. Let me do top and see what it says, because it doesn't always do this. So let me put in Idaho too. It's telling me to put in Idaho. So let me make a third one. But I think I said this earlier. I did look up what happens if you spell it wrong. And apparently Google Trends in one of their like later updates, and I don't know which update it was because there's a few of them, but it still picks up on most things even if they're spelled wrong, so keep that in mind. So now we have, look at this. All right, so let's see how far down we go. Oh my gosh, you guys, who told me to look up, who told me to add the yellow with the Idaho? Did I just see that myself? Because whoever did gets an A. We have a hit. So on November 9th, we have a hit on 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. So on November 9th, 2022. We then see it again on November 13th. We don't have one, but on the 14th or 15th we do, and then going forward. Again, this would be expected going forward, but this one is not expected. So why was somebody looking up the address on November 9th and who was it? So let's go down and see where it was coming from. Alabama. Truth. Why are you looking up this? I'm just kidding. Okay, so we have November 5th. What? The 15th. So people were looking this up, you guys. September 4th. I'm glad that I actually found this because this is going to show that there might have been other states looking up. Could it be that people might have been interested in like living there? I don't know, because the two were going to graduate. I have no idea. All right, let's look at it over here. So over here again, we have, yeah, let's see. That is so weird, you guys. So over here, if I do by subregion, let's see if I do by city. Let's see how down to the, and this I believe is all of the United States. So let's see. All right, so that was two. Oh no, we got something here. So look over here in Idaho and Washington again, but I feel like that's too big of a hit. But if you look, you guys, they're all for blue. So none of these are red, or am I just on the blue one? Hold on. Yes, I was. Now I'm on red. So these are the sub-regions for the red one, which was 1122 King Road. I'm going to put it in top so that you could see which ones we're looking at exactly. And then let's go down to 1122 King Road with the full address to see. The yellow. Come on. I need a new computer so bad. All right, here we go. Oh, look at this one. Okay. Let's click on Idaho and see what it gives us. So now this is going to be at Idaho. So again, this is from 8:10. Oh, I meant to put 8:1. This is from 8:10 to 12:30. I should go back and fix that. But over here, what do we have here? We have 1122 King Road on October 11th, okay, in Idaho. So somebody in Idaho was looking up this date on October 11th, 2022. Again, we're in Idaho right now. We've also have one on December 12th, which again, that's after the crime. So that one I'm not looking at as much. However, this one is, so I don't know if I need to write this down, but October 11th, 2022, we do have a hit there. So that is one thing that I would probably share later. Look over here, you guys, we have, oh, wow. Okay, so wait, let's narrow it down. So I got a text. So hold on, we have, okay, I'm going to do the other one that I did. Here we go. So let's get rid of this real quick. And we're going to do a different search. I am listening to the chat and I'm going to do what you guys want. I don't want it to go out all the way, so I'm just going to put that real quick and put in Moscow. Did I put an S? Because that would, yes, because that would matter. And then that was in red. And then you said in blue was, okay, and the dates, thank you, were, I wonder what the dates were. I guess we can make the dates big for now just to see what it says here. Oh no, it didn't take. Hold on. Let me fix this. All right. Well, this one is, it's going to be the reverse now, you guys. So instead of the red, so now the red one's going to be Moscow homicides and the blue is going to be Moscow murders. And let's see what happens. Oh, wow. So on August 17th, somebody looked up Moscow murders. I'm dying to see where this was at. And then it picks up again on the 14th, or the 14th, which, but wait, there's two, like, one was on October 21st, which was the other one, you guys. Didn't I just say, or was that October 9th? That might have been October 9th. And then August 17th, that's weird. So let's see, breakdown by metro. Oh my gosh, you guys, look, it's all over here again. Oh, we're in Washington, that's why. Let's go to United States and see. I mean, we're in Idaho. Let's go in the United States and see. Okay, do you guys see how that once we went to the United States, look, I'm going over October right now, and we just had a hit on October, but it's no longer there anymore. So that goes to show you, oh my gosh. So on the 14th, we have less than 1% that looked up homicides. On November 14, 2022. Let's compare it by subregion. Why aren't we getting the same information? Because we just opened up the region to a much bigger region. The blue here, the Moscow murders are the ones that we're looking at the moment. So that's what's in blue. I'm going to put it down to city to see how. Oh, look at this. Pullman. Wait, where's Clarkston Heights? Is Clarkston Heights over here by those lake things again or no? All right, wait, let's see. Spokane Valley. So there's a lot of places, but you want to know am I in the United States? Because if I'm in the United States, I am. You guys, this is interesting to me because we don't have like people in Pennsylvania looking this up, right? I mean, you could say that it's because it's over here, but people that are in Pullman are looking that up the most. And Moscow, Idaho Reddit. Let's see what we get with that. Wouldn't that be weird? Did we look up Papa Roger? So the 15th, the Reddit starts. Oh, that's weird. And then, is this the 30th? The 29th, we have 21. And then on the 30th, we have 100%. So it was definitely a trend by then. Oh, wow, you guys. So wait, let's see what it's saying over here. It's saying related topics. Let's go to top topics at the time. So that was the top topic during this time. And so let me tell you the difference between the topic and the queries. So the topic is a broader term. The queries are a more specific search. So if you notice over here, we have Idaho, U.S. state, Reddit site, Moscow city in Idaho, so on and so forth. On the right side, we have the top searches for those things. So let's see what we got down here. Let me go down a little bit and see what it looks like. Oh my gosh, that just scared the shit out of me. I have the worst startle reflex. Okay, so wait, let's go over here and I'm going to narrow it down to, wait, I want to put in Papa Roger. I feel like last time I wrote it wrong or something. Isn't it Papparodger? And there's no S, right? Oh my gosh, is this, I want to click on this. Could this be Drunk Turkey Show? I always see, like, whenever I see them, I think of you. But that would just be crazy for me to just think that. So let me just do Papa Roger and see what happens. Okay, so with Papa Roger, we have nothing. Let's see if I spelled it right. Hopefully I did. Yeah, we have nothing for that. Let me go down to the red and see if there's anything down here. Nope. So let's see if I go by, no, it's already on subregion. So nobody was really looking up Papa Rogers at the time, or Papa Roger. I hope I spelled it right. I guess you guys will tell me in a minute if I did. All right, let me go back up here. Come on. Oh, it's making me put something in. All right, let me go back up. And did we do, remember we did in, oh wait, let me just change the date first before I do a different one. We're going to custom range it, and we're going to put, let's do before the murders, and we have 8/10. We're going to change that to 8/1. We're going to see if it changes anything. So this is before it. How weird is this, you guys? Oh, that's for Reddit. That's weird. Let's see. City. Oh, we have a city. We have a city. Look at this. I mean, I guess you could say, of course, Moscow Reddit is going to be in Moscow, right? That there's going to be a Reddit there. So that doesn't really tell me much. However, it is pretty strange that it's right on the edge there, in between. And that's where you see Pullman. Let's see, Idaho. Let's bring it out to Washington and see if anybody was searching this in Washington. Okay, we have a hit. You guys, we have a hit. Oh, wow. I am convinced that Bryan Kohberger is Papa Roger. I will say that again. It is my opinion as of 5/22/25 at 5:03 p.m. that Papa Roger is Bryan Kohberger, in my opinion. Let me tell you why I think this. Because I put in Papa Roger. We didn't find anything in the United States. We didn't find anything in Idaho. However, when I put in Washington, we got a hit, and the hit is the day before the homicide. I don't know about you, but I think Papa Roger's picture looks just like Bryan, like an AI. I actually, the other night, I pay for like this AI thing for work, like whatever, but I'll use it for true crime. But anyway, so wow, I'm like speechless that I just lost my train of thought. I was gonna, what was I just gonna say to put into the AI to see if it would work? I have no idea. I hope it comes back to me though. I'm like dumbfounded, you guys. So on November 12th, again, we don't know who Papa Roger is. However, somebody did, and they live there. What are the chances? So hold on, let's see. Wow, I am dumbfounded. So Papa Roger was already, that is my opinion, that Papa Roger was then created on the 12th. And it was probably created, let me pull it out a little bit more and see what happens after. I can't believe it, you guys. If this was created after, so let's say Papa Rogers was created on like the 15th or the 16th, I might be like, oh, I don't know. But the fact that it was created the day before, I don't know. So now I'm going to do the first to the, let's do the 30th. So we're just going to do November and see what it says. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so we also have a hit now on the 12th again. So now this is just backing up what I'm saying. And then not again for a while. That tells me that Papa Rogers was created on the 12th. Papa Rogers' birthday is November 12th, 2022, in my opinion. That is my opinion. Wow. All right, let's see if we can get it by city. We have it by, you guys, this freaking lake again over here. What is up with this? Wait, hold on, let's see if I can get the little dot. Sometimes if you click on it, it lets you go in here. So we have Seattle, and then we have Bellevue. So they were the two little dots. And then over here, look at this. Pullman. That's where he lives, Pullman. And that's for the Reddit. And what day was this on? November 12th, you guys. You guys. I have a question. I'm pausing this real quick. Hold on, pause. I need to converse. Wow. You guys, wow. No, there's nothing for the 11th. It's for the 12th. The 12th, technically, not technically, the 13th is the day of the murder. However, if you're like me, it'll still be 5:22 at 4 o'clock in the morning if I'm still awake tonight. Does that make sense? So even though it was the 13th technically, right? We know that it happened very early on the 13th. What if, and this, you guys, I'm like blown away. So not only is there screenshot that shows that when Papa Rogers changed something, a pic, I can't remember. So I think what happened was, no, the account that was registered to a female was after December 30th, somebody else opened up a fake Papa Rogers page. And that I feel like I know from something, and I don't know exactly what. So if somebody knows, let me know. But wow, wait, it was on the 13th at 4 a.m. Right, yeah. So it was on the 13th at 4 a.m. But what we're saying is, hi, Jody. So what we're saying is there should be no searches or trends. Yes, thank you, Sarah. I couldn't say it. I'm like having a hard, that's exactly what I'm saying. Who else would search that on the 12th? Why would someone, and again, if we look, you guys, why would someone in Pullman, Washington, so someone in Washington is looking up Idaho Reddits, and then when you go to the Idaho Reddit, isn't Papa Roger a Reddit? Or no? Wasn't that like created by like a, I'm like old, so the Reddit thing with me, like, I started like looking at the Tappa Talk and stuff like that, but yeah, there shouldn't be. No, there shouldn't be. We just found something here. So, and again, if somebody can answer me, is Papa Roger related to Reddit? I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. If there's a connection between Papa Roger, wasn't on Reddit. Okay. Oof. I was going to say that would have been crazy. So Papa Rogers was on what? Facebook? So let's look up. Does anybody know the name of the Facebook group he was in? Let's put in Idaho. Or no, let's put in Moscow Facebook. Plus. Oh, remember the plus? And let's do it over here too. So it would have to say Moscow Facebook and Papa Roger. And we got a hit. Let's see what date says. Okay. You guys, again, look at that. It just keeps coming back to the 12th for Papa Roger. Why didn't we see that last time? And then wait, let me go to United States and see, because we're at Washington right now. When we go to the, oh, I didn't mean to do Alabama. United States. Oh, wow. Okay, so this information is coming after Moscow Facebook and Papa Roger came up on the 15th. So we have Papa Roger being created on the 12th and then becoming a trend by the 15th. And you see that the trend goes up and down, up and down. When's the last day for that trend? I only have it up to the 30th. All right, let me see what I got for this one. You guys, I'm like dumbfounded. Oh, I have more here. Hold on. All right, let's see. University of Idaho Murders Case Discussion Group. Thank you. University of Idaho. What was it? Case discussion. Was it a dash? I think so. Hold on. Why is it not showing me? When was he booted? Oh, he was booted right before the arrest, because I remember the people that were part of the Facebook group was on vacation or something, and one of the mods, I would kill my mod if they did this, but one of the mods was like getting creeped out by him, which I totally understand, and he was booted off of the page, but then everything happens right afterwards, and I think they realized that it could have been important. So hold on, it was called, I think it was Dash Discussion Group. Let's see. So we're not getting a whole lot on that. However, we're in the United States and we're still, so how about this? Let's go up to 12:30. And I don't know the exact date that he was booted off or whoever was booted off, but wouldn't that be weird if it told us here and then we were able to corroborate it? Okay, so over here we have, so wait, what colors are what? So let's see. So blue is Moscow, Idaho Reddit. Red is Papa Roger. Yellow is the Moscow Facebook page. And then the green is the actual Facebook group. So let's see. What do we have a hit on here? The Reddit seems to be very popular. You guys look, Papa Roger is not at all. So I have it on the United States. This is so important, you guys. You guys have to pay attention to this. So of everywhere in the United States, okay, there's a zero trend for Papa Roger, right? Then if you go over here, we didn't do Idaho. Let's do Idaho. We did Washington. Okay, so again, over here we have, oh, wow. So the Moscow, Idaho Reddit, again, I would be expecting it to be in Moscow. Duh. All right, now, so there's nothing for Papa Roger in Idaho. Washington. Look at this. Wow, you guys. All of the things. And it's the 12th again. I am convinced that Papa Roger was created on the 12th, okay, in Washington. I will sit here after we hang up and I will go through all of the states, okay? And I'll see if there's any other state that pops up with Papa Roger. And if not, then we can narrow it down to Washington. So that would say that somebody in Washington had to be Papa Roger because it's the only place that Papa Roger is trending on the 12th of November. Then on December 2nd, the Facebook page gets bigger. On December 5th, the Reddit. And then on the 30th, we have the Facebook and the Idaho Reddit. Wasn't the Idaho Reddit inside looking? Was that the Idaho Reddit? Or whatever, the Reddit, not Idaho necessarily. Wait, what was it? Inside looking? Inside, wait, let's do inside looking plus, whoops. Plus inside looking plus, that was a Reddit, right? Let's see. Oh, it was, I bet. Because look at this. And this is in Washington, you guys. Okay, ready? Let's do this again. Oh my God. Wait, before I say this one, let me just go out first you guys have to remember, I'm a statistics teacher and a research methods teacher. So I teach research methods and statistics. And this, my friends. Oh, you guys, this is telling. Okay, ready? Here, I'm going to do it again. Drum roll. It is my professional opinion on 5/22/25 at 5:16 p.m. that I believe Bryan Kohberger is also inside looking the Reddit. Okay. And why do I think that? Because Idaho and Washington are two of the things we see here, but I don't know if you guys could see this because it's really small. Let me see if I get it bigger. You know how you can make the page bigger just to show somebody something? I want you guys to look at this real quick. I just noticed something. Wait, hold on. I made it so big that I have to like go over. Hold on, I'm gonna make it smaller again so I can see where it's at. But I want you guys to notice. So remember the thing that I was showing you with the different colors, and I said that the bar, it was like the bar graph. When you look at this, take notice. Of course, I can't find it anymore. But take notice. I'm going to look for it on the bottom, but where it had all the graphs, Idaho was the only one that had multiple things. So that was a little weird. So we have Idaho, Washington, Oregon. So Idaho seems to be Pretty big here for the Moscow Facebook, which we would expect, but not the Reddit. Look at that. Boom. Washington. Wait, let's see if we can get a city. Oh, that's my daughter. So years ago, she's 21 now. She's almost 22. But years ago, you know, like when with the phones and they were all like, well, I always said like it's better to love yourself, right? Oh my God, you guys. Is this the route he took home? I mean, that would make sense over there. Oh, yes, it would. This might not right here. But wouldn't this, couldn't this all hit like if it was a VPN? So, oh, wow. So, you guys, look at this. So instead of rising, I'm going to put in top. The top search was, I'm so glad I did this. So I started to lose a little bit of hope for a second. I'm just being completely honest, because when I have it on the United States and we look at the inside looking, we start to see a bunch of dots. However, we have in there from 11/1 to 12/30, which means that before he was arrested, people were already talking about how inside looking and Papa Roger were that there was something about them, right? So the #1 search here is what is Reddit. So that it makes me feel not better, but makes me feel like that I didn't just make like a big blanket thing. And then we have to keep going. So wait, let's just go over here and just see instead of me talking. Let me just show you. So let me just narrow this down to Washington. And I could do Idaho too, so we can compare. But you guys are going to see how this is all happening in Washington. Most of it. Wow. Wait, hold on. So according to this, inside looking was already there as of November 1st. So let's go back and see how long. Let's do the past 5 years and just see what happens. Oh, wow. So inside looking was around May 17th to the 23rd of 2020. But then, oh, look, you guys, inside looking's still going, so maybe not. I mean, although this now could be people. Oh, wait, look, we have a line here. Hold on. What's the date? I take that back. December 25th, 2021 to January 2022. But look how it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I don't know if that's because of people searching it, like all of us searching it now. Like I just searched it how many times over the past week, right? So could that be what this spike is over here? Or how much of it? But this is the thing. The Papa Roger one, I feel a little bit more comfortable saying that that's probably him at this point. However, I do think it's a little bit weird. Wow, you guys, that's crazy. So wait, hold on, let's see. The Papa Roger one again is red. So Papa Roger, let's do this because we didn't look at Papa Roger for the past 5 years. So Papa Rogers wasn't a thing 5 years ago in Washington at all. Okay. Papa Rogers, you guys, was not created until 11/12. That's crazy. Okay. So this is the deal. So he was kicked off of Facebook on 11/29 the night before. Wow. That's crazy. So I'm going to do like 1 or 2 more and then I'll call it a night because I think the Phillies won. And I hear, no, I'm not in a bad way. I meant it like in a good way. He said sorry because he's like yelling in the background. I didn't mean it like that. I meant so that I could go say it too. Daniel knows us Pennsylvania people are crazy sports fans. All right, let's see. Why isn't it giving me? Oh, I think I have to go down further. Come on. Why isn't it letting me go down further? I might still be out too far. Hold on, let me make this a little smaller. There we go. Now it should show me. There we go. Custom time range. So over here, I'm just going to pull it out to, oh, this was 4/20, No, it wasn't. That's just what it is right now. So we're going to put back in. I want to try Papa Roger one more time, and then I might call it a night. So let's try Papa Roger for June. So 6/1/22. So that I could just see. I want to see, like, was Papa Roger a thing before that? And then we're going to do it till, let's just do it from, let's do it till 1/22/25. And let's see what happens. This is the thing, though. We could be searching Papa Roger, too. Oh, wait. We're not. Hold on. Let's say. Wow. I'm more convinced now than I was before that this is him. I'm going to tell you why. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Yes, okay. All right. Oh, wow. You guys, I see Bryan Kohberger. Hold on. Let's see what happens here. When I add him in. Oh, see, he doesn't get a real big hit until he's arrested, pretty much, you guys. So January 1st, right? So he was arrested December 30th. So from December 25th to December 31st, I would need to go back and make that a smaller time period. Because if somebody was looking him up before the 30th, why? Right? So let's see. So let's just do 12/1/22 to 12/30/22. And let's see what happens here. So Bryan Kohberger. Did I go too far? Or not far enough? Let's see. Oh, maybe because I have to put the United States. Hold on. All right, let's see. So Idaho was the top place that it was searched. And related topics were murder, Reddit, Moscow, suspect, and Albrightsville. And the breakouts were Bryan Christopher Kohberger, Idaho, and Reddit, Bryan Kohberger. Well, they're the rising. Let's see what the top was. The top was Bryan Christopher Kohberger, Oh, yeah, you guys. And let's see what the top was on this side. Idaho, U.S. state, murder, Reddit, Moscow, arrest topic. Wow, that's crazy to me. So instead of subregion, let's see if it'll give me the city. You guys, look. Why would somebody be looking up Bryan Kohberger? And remember, he doesn't leave until the middle of December. So let's look in here and let's look, you guys. Boom, Pullman. And what's this blue dot out? Moscow and Pullman are the two highest. And do you see how they're both next to each other? Do you guys remember on the inside looking and the Papa Roger one, I said that although it didn't really have enough data, there was a dot and it was literally right where these two dots were. That's why I also, like, that also gave me confidence that that was him because it was right there. So do we have searches in other places? Absolutely. But our top searches, again, are in, and again, remember, I'm just blowing up this side over here. So if I take that away, it's not all those bubbles. It's not until I go over it. This makes me think in Spokane Valley that he might have been around there. They might want to go search around there. And what's this? This is Boise, Nampa, and Meridian. I don't really know them well. But again, if you look here, Moscow and Pullman are the two top cities of interest for this, for Bryan Kohberger. And why would that be, right? So then, wow, let's put in Bryan Kohberger suspect, because I feel like I put that in last time. Let's do Bryan Christopher Kohberger. And then we'll do Bryan Kohberger suspect. Should we do plus suspect? Maybe that's what we did last time. And maybe we had the plus here too. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh, December 22nd, Bryan Kohberger plus suspect. Where was that at? Oh, look, you guys, somebody was looking up Bryan Kohberger plus suspect all the way back to the beginning of our search. So that means I'm going to pull our search out a little bit further. And then we're going to find out where in the country it was coming from. So we have 11/1/22 to 12/30. So let's see. We have, did I make it too, no, I didn't make it too big. Look. So you guys, somebody was searching before the crimes to see if this person was a suspect. But then on November 14th, look at that, you guys. Wow. On November 14th, nobody should be looking up Bryan Kohberger as the suspect on the 14th. And then on the 15th, somebody's looking it up. On the 16th, somebody's looking it up. On the 17th, somebody looks it up. On the 18th, somebody looks it up. On the 19th, somebody looks it up. The 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27, 28, 29. I'm trying to see when he left and if he was still. You guys, look at this. Every single day. And do you see how it remains at 2? That means that there's a consistency about it. And then the days where it says 4, to me, would be days that maybe he was a little bit more like, worrisome about it maybe. When did him and his dad leave? Didn't they leave around the 15th? Because on the 16th, the search goes down. And on the 17th, the search is down. And on the 18th, it's down. If his dad and him left on the 15th or 16th, I'm going to say that I have a degree of confidence statistically that, oh, wow. Okay, do you guys see here how it says Bryan Kohberger plus suspect 100% on December 30th? And it has all of the things are getting higher at this point. Okay, we would expect that. Why? Because he gets arrested that day. However, nobody, and every single day, going all the way back, we have this. So, and it's lower. See how it's a 1, like all these days in November right before? And then look, the 13th, we have, I'm sorry. You guys, this makes me think that this is 100% him. Hold on, let me just turn my ringer off. I apologize. This makes me think that it's 100% him, and let me tell you why. On the days before the thing or whatever, there's 1, 1, 1. And then the days that I think that he left with his dad, they're skipping down to 1s all the way through. The days that were mostly whatever, like I would say, I would want to know what happened on November 24th. I feel like I wrote down stuff. Do I have anything on November 24th? Hold on. November. No, hold on. So in the first 2 weeks of September, he was by the King Roadhouse. The football game was on the 12th. He was there on the 7th. Not there, like his stuff pinged there. Oh, look, on the 7th, we have a bump up to 2. On the 10th, he stopped using his debit card. Look, it goes back up to 2 again on the 10th. How weird is this? On the 11th, he tries to clear his computer. And look, we only have 1 search, so he tries to clear the computer. On the 12th is the Vandals football game. And then that night, he leaves his house. He went to the, oh no, the girls went to the corner club at 10, sorry. Wow. Wow, you guys. So this says to me that this is Bryan searching himself. So let's be sure before we hang up. Let's be sure. Let's come down here and we're gonna look at where we have our top picks. And here we have Idaho. This is what I was talking about before with the different colors. So these these parts, this is where we've seen a hit for all of these things. So for Bryan Kohberger, Bryan Christopher Kohberger, and Bryan Kohberger plus suspect, which happens to be the highest. The suspect one happens to be the highest for all of these places. Okay, so it was a suspect thing. Let's go over here and we're going to take out United States. And we're going to try Washington. Okay, wow. Oh, wow. So you guys, in Washington, it's showing us that these are literally following along. I would expect just from these low numbers here, like we have 1s and 2s. And before we had, when we did the United States, we had like 2s more than 1s. So I'm wondering if we have 1s in Idaho, that would make up for that other percentage point. So let's see what we got. Okay, I was right. So in Idaho, oh wow. What day is this? On November 16th. On November 16th. Why is somebody looking up if he's a suspect? Where are we? Are we in Washington? I have a headache for some. Oh no, we're in Idaho. We're in Idaho. But why is somebody looking up if Bryan Kohberger is a suspect in Idaho on the 16th? Or the 17th? And then it's 0-0, and then it bumps back up on November 21st. I think something happened at this time. I have like notes somewhere. I know I'm going to find it as soon as we hang up. I have like multiple. Here we go. Let's see. No, these are all back in July. So I need to find my notes that go after that. But I'll find them and I'll have to, I'll let you guys know. Let me just try one other. Sorry, I don't mean to do. My dog is such a wimp. Oh, I found it. Hold on, let me get it. At least I think I found it. October 14th, he was pulled over by the woman cop. Let's see. October 14th. We're not back that far, so I will look that up in 1 second. I'm missing my November notes, you guys. I got to find my November notes. I will find them now. But I'll have to look it up because I wonder if there's something that happened on these days, like specifically like November 23rd. Oh, wait. November 21st is his birthday, right? 11/21/22. I was like, why does this date sound so familiar to me? And it's because it's his birthday. And then on November 22nd, we have nothing. On the 23rd, we have 2. Wow. You guys, that's crazy. And then we have nothing again because now he's in Pennsylvania. So hold on. Let's go to Pennsylvania. See, this is why it's dangerous to do this. Because you'll find yourself on here all day with a headache. All right, we're in Pennsylvania. And look at this. So we're flatlined over here in Pennsylvania. Well, on November 15th, we have a 2. Could it be that somebody in his family is searching him too? But let's see. Why is anybody looking him up as a suspect in Pennsylvania? So now it dips all the way down to like nothing. So on December 26th and 27th and 25th. So on Christmas Eve, one person searched if he was a suspect in Pennsylvania. Like somebody in Pennsylvania made enough searches to make it hit at 1%. But on the 25th, 26th, and 27th, we have nothing. The 28th, we have 1. The 29th, we have nothing. And then the 30th, it just all goes bananas. But again, why is this interesting to me? Because around the times of the crime, we see a bump in somebody in Pennsylvania looking up if Bryan Kohberger is a suspect. Oh, okay. I'm positive. Ready? Let me show you this. Just because I know where he lives. Wait, do you guys see this? So, we're not just in Pennsylvania. Wait, let me show you. So that was at 58%. We have, okay, so this is where he lives. Let me get in this little bubble. Come on, bubble. Nazareth, wait, hold on. So somebody in Tannersville was looking up, or what's right here, duh, West Conshohocken, we had most people looking up Bryan Kohberger, but for Bryan Kohberger suspect, we have these other ones. So let me see if I could just do the suspect one. And see what we get. King of Prussia, what the? That's closer to me than I'd like it to be. Where's Scranton? I know I saw Scranton before. It should be around Scranton and Stroudsburg. Wait, what's this? Was this it? I'm looking for somewhere specific. Okay, so this is around where he lives, right here. And then over here, wouldn't it be interesting if he had like family that were like if that's where his sisters lived or something? And then down here, let's see, how far down are we here? Oh my God, there could be absolutely nobody on right now, and I could be talking to myself and I wouldn't even know it. Oh wait, include low volume areas. Let's see what happens then. All right, let's do city real quick and then I'll be done, I promise. I feel bad. So we're going to include the low search volume areas. And there we go. This is what I was expecting. The big blue one is probably where it was searched the most. So let's see if we can identify what that is. Come on. Tannersville keeps coming up. Where the hell is Tannersville? Now I'm going to need to look it up on my phone. But he lives in like the Pocono area. Oh, Mountaintop, Wilkes-Barre. So yeah, you guys, this is by where he lives right here. So this is all that same area. So that's what I was looking for, like Scranton and stuff. But that's all that area. So yeah, Stroudsburg, all of this. I wonder if others could have been looking up at that time because we did it till the 30th. If he could have been a suspect. So then it breaks it down real quick into Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Over here by city. I don't know what just happened. It probably just hung up. I don't even know. Oh, look, you guys, DeSales University. What? That's so crazy. So as of this date in Pennsylvania, okay, the top query for Bryan Christopher Kohberger was related to Idaho murders as opposed to DeSales University or Albrightsville, where he lives. Bryan Christopher Kohberger Reddit. Has any of us ever looked that up to see what it is? Like, I wonder, I'm sure people have, but I wonder if anybody's looked that up. But over here, it seems to get pretty popular, not until he's arrested. So maybe that's other people looking it up after. Okay, anyway, let me get over here. I feel like we've been on for 5 hours. Oh, it's been 2 hours. Well, right? Isn't that crazy? Wouldn't that indicate that he's well known? No, you know what that would indicate to me either? So the VPN too, I want to address too. So the well-known part, the area, like those dots could represent different people. They could be anything from his sisters to his, parents to his aunts or uncles, and then their loved ones, you know what I mean? Or they could be calling their friend, like, so-and-so, like, do you think, or a friend could be calling them, like, do you think Bryan could be responsible for this? Stuff like that, right? So I do think we have to keep that in mind. So I am not surprised at all that we saw all that. So some of the biggest takeaways with the VPN thing too, let me tell you the problem with the VPN. So today I just had to redo my VPN and just real quick, oh wait, your girls live in Moscow and they
did at the time of the crime too close to home? Oh, hell no. He was at home. Exactly, Sarah. He was at home in Pennsylvania, which is by me. So you had him out there, and then sorry we sent him out to you. How about that one? Because he was in Pennsylvania to begin with. But the VPN thing the thing I wanted to say about that was today I had to like renew my VPN and stuff, and it's for work because I'm a professor. I work at a university and colleges, so I have to have yes, I do. I have to have a VPN. So the VPNs, the way that it works, at least where I am, or at least the programs that we use at both the college and university, they're like different from my computer and my phone. So I didn't realize that this whole time I had a VPN on my computer and not my phone. Or it's the reverse. I have a VPN on my phone and not my computer, one or the other. But anyway, so I guess my thing would be is his phone and his computer sunk? And the reason, or does he sync them? The reason I said sunk, the reason I asked that is because you then have double the data. So I at first had them sync not them, like me, I sunk my computer and my phone together, but then my data was like tremendous and I was like, no way. So I disconnected them and made them two separate entities so that I had like my computer storage and then my iPhone storage and my iCloud, this, that, and the other. With that being said, with the VPN, I would think that he had his VPN on his phone, like me, as opposed to his computer. And let me tell you why. I think that he had one on his phone. Someone just, see, Sarah, I'm good at this. So you would think most people have it on their computers too, right? But on the phone, even if you have a VPN, let me just let you, I don't know if you guys know this, and I didn't learn this till pretty recently. I'm like, what the frig's the point of having a VPN then? On your phone, so when I'm on my phone, when I go out to my car, my VPN, let's say my VPN turns on or however that works, it has to first ping off of a cell before the VPN can turn on, at least as far as your phone goes. That might be different with your computer because your computer is at the same location. Like right now, I have my computer hooked up to the Ethernet thing, whatever. I said the Ethernet thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. The Ethernet cord. But let's say I was on Wi-Fi, my VPN would kick in. From what I've been listening to by listening to the guy that Daniel had on and stuff and like other people like that, from what I've learned is, and please somebody tell me if I'm wrong, is that when you're on your computer at home, your VPN might kick in first. Not always, but it usually does. But when you're on your phone, you're saying it's the exact same. Sarah, I thought the same thing. So this is the thing. Let's all give each other homework. Let's all try to look it up and see. Because let me tell you why. I swear it was either the guy on Daniel's show or it was somebody that knows what they're talking about with VPNs that said the difference between your VPN and your phone is that when you leave your house, your phone disconnects from your Wi-Fi, and before the VPN can kick on, it has to connect to a tower first. And that's where you get that first signal when you turn your phone back on. And that might be what did him in. So he could have had his VPN on, but he still was pinging on his way there and on his way home. And I guarantee you he probably didn't think that he was pinging, but he turned his phone off, right? So when he turned his phone back on, the phone had to ping off of a tower first before the VPN could be turned on. So I guess what I'm saying is that first time he's using his phone, it is pinging. So whatever he's searching for on Google is also pinging off of that as well. So it's two signals. I don't know. It pings before yes, that's what I'm trying to say. It pings before the VPN hits. Sarah, we don't know each other like that, but I feel like you're like my you like really helped me get my words together today, so thank you. It takes a village, right? This is like the third or fourth time you did that for me tonight. So yes, I believe it takes two different signals, that it pings first, and then that was Steve who worked. And look at Daniel still being around. Daniel, what the hell? Thank you. I owe you. You're such a good friend. You guys, Daniel is so good. If you're on my page right now and you don't know who the DT show is, then it's probably not real because all of you probably know who the DT show is. But if you're like a family friend or student and you don't know who the DT show is, go over to the Drunk Turkey show. Daniel has a great show. He has me on a lot too. He's just a really good guy and a really good friend. And everybody in this group are really good people. So I'm very happy with the group that is coming around. Daniel, I do have to tell you something after this though. It's not like anything, whatever, but I have something for you. But anyway, it's not gossip or anything, anybody. It's not like that. It's not even anything you guys would even be interested in. It was something we were talking about before. So that's how, oh, you found me through Daniel's son. Huh? That's funny. Daniel's a turkey. Oh, now they're calling you a turkey. You're a good dude. We make a great duo. I told Daniel that I got so good at this Google Trends thing that him and my husband better be on their best behaviors, because if his wife or I ever need to figure anything out, just watch out, because, you know, I got this. I got this. I'll catch both of yous. How about that? No, they're both really good guys. My husband's like, what did I do? He said, is that a threat? Right? And Daniel was a cop before, so you would probably take a threat very seriously. But yes, that's a threat. So there you go. That's a threat to Daniel and my husband, for me and Steelers fan. All right? All right, you guys. I'm going to hang up now. My dog clearly wants my attention. Look at this handsome face. Isn't he so cute? Facts, exactly. Okay. Thank you, Truth. Look at Truth. So Truth put Drunk Turkeys YouTube in the chat. If you aren't from there, please do so. Sarah asked if I'm from Jersey. You're so close, Sarah. I will be in Jersey tomorrow down the shore, but I am from Pennsylvania. Okay? Go Phillies. I need to go finish watching the Phillies. I need to go, like, are they still on, Ryan? Oh, they won. I already missed it. Whatever. I'm going to have to go watch it back and see what happened. But I'm still going to hang up right now. I love you all. Thank you all for supporting me. You have no idea how much I appreciate you all. I hope to see you over on Daniel's channel soon. Maybe one day we'll have Daniel on my channel. We'll see. I'm still like scared about that. I'm like so afraid that nobody will show up, but Daniel wasn't on my channel today and I got some people, so I can only assume that if he drops it in his Discord, I would get more. I have like nightmares, you guys, that Daniel's like, okay, let's just do one on Dr. Vona's channel, and then we go to do it, and like Truth and Steelers fan shows up, and Sirius, like, and nobody else type thing. So that was like a fear of mine, but now I'm starting to get a little bit more confident. So maybe in a little bit we'll take Daniel up on his offer to come over here. And I appreciate all of you, and I will see you over at the Drunk Turkey Show tonight or tomorrow or whenever he goes live. I will be in the chat talking with everybody. Good night, everybody, and have a great weekend. And thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Truth, for helping me.